Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Windsor-Essex 2021 Virtual Earth Day Hour celebration. My name is Yvonne Pilon, President and CEO of WEtech Alliance, a proud partner and supporter of the first ever Virtual Earth Day series of events, and fully embrace this year's theme, Restore the Earth. We have an exciting hour ahead for you to enjoy and learn more on what Windsor-Essex is actively doing together to improve our planet, change our local carbon footprint, and share exciting, new, innovative ideas that you too can be a part of. Before we get into the details and welcome our guest panelists, our environmental leaders of our community, we have someone familiar to all of us who would like to share a few words on behalf of the City of Windsor. Please welcome our worship, Mayor Drew Dilkens.
Well, thank you, Yvonne, and good afternoon, everyone. Earth Day was celebrated for the first time on April the 22nd, 1970, and today, more than 1 billion people in 193 countries participate in Earth Day activities each and every year. And over those years, Earth Day has become the world's largest environmental movement. We recognize as global temperatures continue to rise and extreme weather has become increasingly unpredictable, Windsor-Essex must continue to do our part and work with our environmental partner organizations, communities, businesses, and nearby municipalities to encourage action on climate change. Unfortunately, due to our current COVID-19 restrictions, our 32nd annual local Earth Day celebrations will be digital again this year. But this year's theme, Restore the Earth, opens the door for us to be creative in how we discuss progress and challenges related to our environment and our climate. And in partnership with the Essex Windsor Solid Waste Authority and the Essex Region Conservation Authority, we're bringing our first virtual Earth Day scavenger hunt to you. Now, we've teamed up with GooseChase, a tried and true scavenger hunt app with the latest smartphone technology to create interactive activities, all from the safety of your home, your backyard, or your neighborhood. And today we're pleased to welcome a number of our local advocates and community partners who are helping us restore the earth. Here to guide the discussion is someone we all know and love from Windsor-Essex, Mr. Steve Bell with Team Goran Cares. Over to you, Steve.
Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. Yes, and it does take a little bit for me to get used to because I've known our worship for many, many years, going back to when he was just a young fellow with lots of hair and working at the radio station. And I just want to say thanks to a guy that I still know as Drew, a great person. And there's nobody in this entire community that cares more about family and cares more about Windsor, Essex, and the environment than our mayor. So thanks again to Drew Dilkens. I also like to thank Yvonne for having me be even just a little small part of today's Earth Day. And when it comes to digital and technology, boy, maybe I should have taken a crash course or two with Yvonne prior to this. So thanks again. And I am the Care Ambassador for Team Goran, Remax Care Realty. And much like the mayor who had my back a few weeks ago, right from the very start, Team Goran and Goran Todorovic was right there as well. And trust me, in my new position as Goran's Care Ambassador, Goran Cares, I care as well. And really just delighted to be a part of today's Earth Day digitally. I'd like to welcome our panelists, and we'll run. Well, you know me, being a sports guy for over 40 years on the radio, and just recently finding out about the Spitfire situation, no hockey. I have to make this somewhat sportsy, okay? So our panelists, and we will hear from all of them in just a moment, are left winger, starting on the left side, our starting lineup, Karina Richters, the Supervisor of Environmental Sustainability and Climate Change for the City of Windsor. Our starting right winger, she can play as well, Kat Griffin, the Communications Specialist with Essex Windsor Solid Waste Authority. Our center today is Danielle Stubing, someone I've worked with many times in the past. Nobody more organized than Danielle, the Director of Communications and Outreach Services for Essex Region Conservation Authority. And on the blue line, a couple of real good defense people here. Elizabeth Elias Hernandez, the Chair of YQG Green Connection Network Group. Our other defense specialist, Yvonne Pilon, of course, we've already heard from Yvonne, the President and CEO of WEtech Alliance. And later we'll hear from our goaltender. I thought we'd put Goran can play goal. So Goran's going to be our starting goaltender today. First of all, Karina, of course, the supervisor, as I mentioned, for environmental sustainability and climate change, Karina Richters, of course, well known. She's been working diligently with the City of Windsor, 12 years guiding the city in achieving global recognition and climate change leadership through Carbon Disclosure Project. This is Windsor is one of only a few municipalities in the entire country to achieve this rating and achievement. Karina's been a member of the Earth Day Committee for more than a decade now, and we'll hear from Karina.
Okay, thanks, Steve. So welcome everybody to our first attempt at a virtual Earth Day. It's, in my opinion, going very well with tons of engagement, and that kind of speaks to the commitment of our community in our Earth Day and all of our environmental projects we're doing. So a little bit about the city. The city has a number of plans that we're working on to strive to get to this this ideal place of where we want to see our Earth. So we have environmental master plans that are looking at, tree canopy covers and land use planning. We have community energy plans that are going to help us guide us towards a future where we're having less greenhouse gas emissions and adaptation. Unfortunately, we know that, we're not going to be able to stop climate change overnight, and there's going to be a certain level of adaptation that we're going to need to be doing. But one thing that is really important for everybody at home to understand is that, the city has all these plans, we're involved in all these activities and initiatives, but really the success of any of ours and how we're going to reach our goals is by you, the community, the businesses, the individual actions. Those all add up, and that is what's going to make the City of Windsor a success in the long run. So I appreciate everybody for attending today and joining our Earth Day app.
Thanks so much once again, Karina. Our next panelist today will be Kat Griffin, the communications specialist with the Essex Windsor Solid Waste Authority. Kat educates, encourages, and promotes waste reduction and recycling throughout Windsor-Essex County. She's been a member of the Earth Day Committee for more than 28 years. Let's welcome Kat.
Hi, everybody. Happy Earth Day. I'm very happy to be here. It's been a long time. I've been doing this for 28 years, as Steve said, and we've seen a lot of different things with Earth Day. We've had a lot of snow. We've had some sunny days. It's a little cold today, but I'm glad that everybody is staying safe. I'm glad that everybody's participating in our scavenger hunt. I think it's a great method. It's really a creative way to get everybody during lockdown to get outside, to take some pictures, to learn some new interesting things about organizations that they may have not worked with before or even knew about. So I'm very happy that we've managed to do this, and that GooseChase has been wonderful to work with. And I'd like to remind everybody, just take it back to the basics with all things that are going on with climate change, with pollution and everything that's going on. We need to take things back to the basics. We need to talk about reduce, reuse, and recycle. And I mean, we all can reduce the amount of stuff we buy. We can reduce the amount of food waste we generate. We can compost the food waste that we do generate. We can, instead of buying fast fashion, we can buy quality goods that last. We can think about the amount of plastic that we buy and look for environmental alternatives. We can stop buying single use. We swap out some single use for something that's reusable, a reusable coffee mug. And then when we're done doing all of that, the final thing is to recycle. So the guidelines for our recycling program, I think that just by doing small actions, we contribute to the overall protection and sustainability of our planet. So happy Earth Day. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, thanks again, Kat. Daniel Bro-Stubing, as I mentioned earlier, is somebody I've worked very closely with a number of times in the past, and I don't think I've ever worked with anybody that's been more organized and committed to everything that she's been involved in. Of course, when it comes to the environment, we have so many chances to make a difference, whether it's planting native trees, choosing reusable containers, conserving water. And Danielle Bro-Stubing, the Director of Communications and Outreach Services for the Essex Region Conservation Authority, will explain a little bit further.
Thanks so much, Steve, and happy Earth Day to everybody. It's such a pleasure to have the chance to talk with people, even though we're not in person. And that's certainly one of the things that we're really missing at ERCA this year. Generally, at this time of year, we're getting ready to welcome thousands of people to our annual Earth Day tree planting event to plant thousands of trees. And we've been doing that in the City of Windsor since the year 1999. And as a result of just that single annual event, more than 30,000 trees have been added to the City of Windsor's landscape. And one of the great things about that was year after year, we'd see families come back and seeing kids starting as young kids and coming back year after year to plant trees up until adulthood. So that's really one of the things that we're missing this year. But to this year's theme of restoring the earth, ERCA is still moving ahead with our tree planting program. And as we speak, our crews are getting ready to plant 125,000 native species trees and restore over 100 acres of land to nature. So we're really excited about that. And also really excited to be part of this GooseChase app, where we can do things like do an energy audit in our own homes and just be more mindful about looking at recycling and making sure that we're recycling the right things. And getting out in nature. ERCA manages 17 publicly accessible natural areas where people can go and walk trails and explore the woods. And we've seen just a surge in usage. And I think what we've learned through this pandemic more than ever is that while there are a lot of things that we can do without in our lives, that we need nature. We crave nature, and our need for nature is paramount. And we've heard from so many people over this past year or so saying, thank you for keeping these areas open. They've been critical for my physical health, for my mental health. And these are some of the challenges and the missions that are part of the GooseChase. So we're just really excited to see everyone participating and having so much fun.
Thanks again, Danielle. Elizabeth Elias Hernandez is the chair, CPC, Green Connections Network. A very important role for businesses and individuals to do their part to help restore the earth. And of course, this being the day, Earth Day, for the past 3 years here in Windsor-Essex, CPC Green Connections, a group of small business owners and social enterprises and community-based organizations that want to make a difference by promoting environmentally and socially sustainable practices throughout our region. And today we do have CPC Green Connections Chair, Elizabeth Elias Hernandez, to share with us.
Thank you, Steve. I'm very honored to be here and to work with the City of Windsor in this Earth Day celebration. We're excited because at Contents Processing Center, where we started our CPC Green Networking Group, we started to do our own Earth Day celebration, more B2B, business to business people, to educate what businesses are out there that are promoting green. So in order to do that, we started doing our monthly virtual, well, in person at the time, networking group. And we're excited to have our first virtual event as well tonight. So today would have been our 4th year anniversary for our event, but this is our first virtual event as well. So we encourage everybody to join today at 6:30, learn about the Green Networking Group and the businesses that's doing a lot of green initiative in the community. You could be green with, buying a Laundry Pro to your washer, and you could not use detergents anymore. And this is great for our water system. There's air purifiers, there's green cabinetry. A lot of people don't know that, installing a kitchen cabinet that has a lot of VOCs in it, and, it triggers allergies, and it's not as healthy for our environment. So there's a lot of things to learn. So tune in tonight. And one big thing that I'm excited about, a lot of you probably remember June 27th, the can drive in the City of Windsor, everybody came together. So we are planning a YQG Big Green event, and it's to help people recycle their items that they don't want to use anymore. Might be a furniture, might be some clothes, shoes that are really in good condition, like a free yard sale for the City of Windsor. So we are doing a Facebook group. It's called YQG Green. So find us. We will be doing it when it's safe to do so, but we're encouraging people to go on it now, take pictures of items you're donating and save it. Now everybody's home. It's the perfect time to spring cleaning and help the environment by not putting it in the landfill.
Thanks again, Elizabeth. Of course, we heard earlier from Yvonne Pilon, the president and CEO of WEtech Alliance. And as the president and CEO of WEtech Alliance, I know Yvonne works not just on Earth Day, but on a daily basis with up and coming entrepreneurs, discovering and supporting innovative solutions throughout technology. And some of the technology, of course, is changing day by day, how we live, how we work, how we play. And to tell us a little bit more about the initiatives and how we see technology affecting climate change, once again, here's Yvonne.
Thanks, Stephen. I have to say, you are doing an amazing job as a host. You have big shoes to fill. So you might be wondering, WEtech Technology Earth Day, where is the kind of parallel there? So as you mentioned, we work with entrepreneurs and innovators, about 300 every year. And when we think of technology, we think in many different facets. So clean technology, so things like energy technologies, water technologies, agri-tech technologies, and advanced manufacturing technologies. Technology does play an important role in helping us do better for the environment. Think about drones are being used above the sky to track endangered species. They're being used under the water to track algae blooms. Even smart technology. I mean, I know I start my day with Alexa and I have an Ecobee. There are smart technologies that are helping us conserve energy. So we work with so many great companies. Just I wanted to maybe acknowledge just a few of the companies that we're working with. So Hortaliza, which is an urban vertical farm out in Kingsville, a new Main Street business, again, looking at growing up instead of growing wide. So they can basically produce the same amount in an 800 square foot building, then perhaps something, a land size 6 times the size of that. Netmon, which is a local technology company, they have built some amazing environmental monitoring technology. In fact, they were used in the London 2012 Olympics. Ecovana, in fact, they've got some of their materials. This is a woman-owned business right here in Windsor-Essex, providing Canada with vegan and eco-friendly products. So this is just one of their water carriers. They have soaps and bath bombs, just a number of the great companies. And Coulter Software, another one of my favorites, building a mobile app and sensors that is being used just off the 401 in Hazelnut Farm. So leveraging sensors to test not only the temperature and the soil, as well as just the watering, and ensuring that that the orchard or the hazelnuts are getting access to the right amount of water and sunlight. So in addition to us, looking for those innovators to solve some of our most pressing environmental challenges, WEtech over the last year have played a big role in helping our Main Street businesses adopt technology. So in addition to the awesome 50+ challenges you have in the GooseChase app, there's also a bonus one. And the bonus one is aimed at the community to share their photos, screenshots of websites, social media of eco-friendly Main Street businesses. So these are things like companies that upcycle furniture, those who are doing consignments or resale of clothing, bike sales, eco-friendly car sales, recycled e-waste. So at any point during, I guess, if you haven't done it all yet, you have till April 25th to finish. So all you got to do is tweet out a photo of a business, eco-friendly, even if you're using, the takeout Tuesdays, and you see that a restaurant you ordered is leveraging, cardboard and recycled product. Make sure to take a picture and tag WEtech in it using the hashtag EcoMainStreetYQG. We will choose one winner to win a grand prize of a $300 gift card to Grove out in Kingsville. So you've got the restaurant, the hotel, and coming soon this spring, they're going to be doing electric bike rentals. So you could tour out the wineries. Another great way for us to look at reducing our carbon footprint. Instead of driving, we can now bike. So again, just really excited to be part of this. And in fact, I'll look to all of the other panelists as the true leaders, but I know everybody can make a difference, and I'm excited to be part of this today.
Thanks again, Yvonne. And trust me, I'm looking forward to a couple of those tours. And I know a brewery or two in the county as well that very close by that we may have to check just for research purposes only, that. Hey, I think it'd be great right now. We'll have a little roundtable discussion, and at least to start, we'll open it up to all of our great panelists here. And I guess number one, just why is Earth Day so important to you and the organization that you work with? Maybe want to start with Kat?
Well, thanks, Steve. I think Earth Day is very important to me personally, but also it's important to the Essex Windsor Solid Waste Authority because we're tasked with the management of everything that people throw away, which is substantial. So we're in a society now where there's a lot of consumerism, where everybody's looking for the next best thing, the next greatest thing, the next in fashion, the next in tech, the next. But what happens is it creates a lot of garbage. And recycling can't keep up with everything that's being manufactured. And the manufacturers a lot of times aren't held to an environmental mandate that they can do whatever they want. And you go into the grocery store and people will say, is that recyclable? And it's brand new, we haven't seen it. And then we have to go back and think, can we take this at the plant? Can we find a market for this material? What are we going to do with it? It's been created. We had no choice in that, but what are we going to do now? And I think that's when we pass it back to the residents, because it's their dollars, it's their hard-earned salaries that can make an impact. Because businesses nowadays will listen to your purchasing habits, that you can tweet out your disapproval or approval if you like their product, if their product is green, if they're doing a good job. And I think that's what we need to remember for residents is do what you can, but it also means having a voice. It means saying, we love the fact that you're going green, and manufacturers and businesses will respond to that. So I think in order to manage our garbage, to be able to recycle, we need to do all of those things. We need to follow our recycling program. We need to reduce what we can, use what we can, but I think we also need to give a voice to the businesses that are doing the right thing. As Yvonne so succinctly put, there are businesses out there that are doing the right thing, that are leading the way, that are on cutting edge of the technology. We need to support them, and we need to tweet out, we need to show our approval, because that's how we go green. That's how we get more businesses following a green mandate. So that's important to the Solid Waste Authority, because all of the garbage ends up with us, and we have to find a way of dealing with that through depots, through landfills, through a recycling program. So if residents, your actions do make a difference, and that's what Earth Day means to me as well as the authority.
Danielle?
Thanks, Steve. I think similarly, at the Conservation Authority, we love Earth Day because it brings an enhanced awareness. Everyone's thinking more about the earth, but our theme is really, let's make every day Earth Day. Let's think about our choices every day. Let's be mindful, not just in what, the end of a product's life where it ends up in the recycling, but let's think about what we're purchasing. I think there was a period where excess sort of reflected success, right? The more stuff that we had, maybe the more successful that we felt. And it's really a change in mindset to not just think about something, well, it's recyclable, so it's okay, but what's the energy that goes into producing that thing that we're going to buy? How far does it have to be, does it have to travel before it reaches us? So, buying things that are made closer to home is going to reduce our carbon footprint. And I think some of the things that we've learned over this past year, I know while everyone is looking forward to going back to normal, and certainly I can't wait to see people in person again, there are a few things that I hope that maybe will become the new normal. And I hope to never have to drive to another meeting again. When we see the success that technology has allowed us to put into place into having virtual meetings, for instance, the Essex County Regional Energy Plan that's been produced over the past year and a half, we've saved about 38,000 kilometers in travel in producing that plan by using technology rather than driving to be in person in meetings. And think of the time that we've saved over, having to get in a car and driving somewhere for a meeting. And so these are some of the things that I'm really hoping that will become part of our everyday mindfulness as businesses, and our way of life sort of returns back to adjusting to a new normal, that some of these things that we've learned over the course of the pandemic will become more commonplace for our business practices.
Elizabeth, would you like to comment just on what it means Earth Day to your organization?
For sure. I don't know if you guys know what my previous employer, Contents Processing Center, they started 10 years ago from restoring items after floods and fires. And when I brought people over to do a tour, they were amazed because they thought, oh my God, I could have saved my wedding dress if I knew you guys were existing. Like, you know, the insurance people are not promoting this. And this is why I started Earth Day at CPC, is to make sure that, you know, there is a way of cleaning and restoring items than throwing it and buying new, because what we're doing to the environment is we're hurting it more, and then more disasters happen. So it's a cycle. You know, like everybody's here. So we started to bring awareness to the community by creating Earth Day and by bringing businesses that are green together and trying to educate the community. So I'm very passionate about, you know, what CPC has been doing. They restore electronics. You know, people didn't know that you could actually wash electronics with a special machine. So there, you know, there's ways to save the environment instead of just buying new all the time. So one thing I learned personally as well is through COVID is like, I don't need all these clothes to go out in events, and I could just add a little jewelry and make it like new, right? So just trying to be more mindful and as well as you said, you know, not meeting every day, driving to places. So, you know, now you can pick up the phone, get on the Zoom. So we're more minded in what we do. And I think the way we're doing business, hopefully it'll teach our kids as well.
Thanks again. And, you know, the one thing that I keep hearing back from all of our great panelists is technology and how technology makes a difference. And I know Yvonne with WEtech, you can speak to that for sure.
As I mentioned earlier, just about, you know, how technology is being used, but regardless, the best technology without a good planet doesn't work. So, you know, it's planet first. And I think why WEtech's interested in Earth Day is that there are new challenges that are happening that are, you know, every day. So an active and timely one for our region is the move to electric vehicles. Battery recycling is going to be extremely important. And there are students in our institutions right now in our hometown at the St. Clair College and University of Windsor who are actively looking at how can we best recycle the EV batteries. So with these new challenges, again, it's so important to work with community partners, right? When we look at why are, you know, is Earth Day important and why are community partnerships important? It's because it's going to take that collective approach for us to really build true sustainability. So for us, it's about, you know, looking and connecting with innovators to solve those new challenges, and more importantly, to connect with our community leaders to see how we can collectively create change and a better, you know, Earth.
You know, sometimes people may think too, we keep hearing about big organizations and companies that can do so much, but on an individual basis, and I know I find out firsthand because I have 3 lovely little granddaughters, and I'll go to throw something out and I'll hear, "Grandpa, what do you do?" Oh, so I mean, whether you have children or in my case, 3 grandchildren that keep an eye on almost everything you do, it's a constant reminder. But on an individual basis, maybe Kat, you can comment. And lots of times it may seem like such a minute, such a small little thing, but those small things I know do add up, really, when it comes to Earth Day to save our planet.
Steve, absolutely, absolutely. The small things add up, and I think a lot of times people feel that they're too small to make a big difference. That I'm an individual. It's got to be the corporations that make the change. They forget that small individual actions add up. It adds up to a big change. And if everybody just changed a few things in their life, you know, as Danielle spoke to, we're all at home and we're all looking at how much stuff we have at home. And you know, Marie Kondo got on Netflix and she was like, throw everything away if it doesn't spark joy. And our depots were crazy busy because of that. So, and the amount of products and furniture and textiles and everything and bicycles and the things that came to our depot was really unbelievable. And these are people who are probably have purchased too much. And again, we're not here to say what you have and what your threshold is for how many objects you have in your house. But I think, as was spoken to earlier, we have to go back to a simpler times. How many clothing items do we need? How many dishes do we need? How many reusable cups do we need? Because I know that I have more than one and I probably shouldn't have. So I think even we have to start looking at what we use every day. That the sponge in your kitchen sink, you can buy a plant-based sponge instead of a plastic sponge. there are reusable options, there are green options, and that's why I think that every little bit change, you know, makes a huge impact. You can get outside, you can pick up litter. I mean, pandemic, post-pandemic maybe, but we can all get out there. And especially people are really littering on, I know, on the trails. I was watching Danielle's Twitter feed on the Greenway, and I saw some of the garbage that was being created. So from someone who works in waste management, don't litter, throw your masks in the garbage. I mean, you don't need to throw them into nature. So I think even those little actions make a big difference. So that's what we're hoping to get across to everybody, is little actions make a difference. Be the leaders. We need to be the leaders.
Karina, could you comment just as well on the individual basis? And again, sometimes it may seem like such a minor thing, but those minor, you know, cases do add up.
Yeah, you're so correct. And I think of what the city's trying to achieve. And we have so many great initiatives, right? We're building bike lanes. Um, we're looking at programs to help people reduce energy. But really, we can develop these programs if it's not the individual person saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on my bike and I'm going to ride to work, or I'm going to like turn down that thermostat a bit. Really, whatever the city does is not going to make the difference that the individuals are going to be. So, again, we're setting up to provide people with these opportunities to do great things. And again, it's the little everyday action. If you think about it, if, just walking or cycling to school every day, we're building the trails, use them, get there in a more sustainable way. Again, we can't make you, but we're trying to facilitate that change for you, right? And I think that's all of us. That's ERCA and how they maintain their conservation areas, EWSWA by constantly trying to improve the recycling options and the waste diversion options available to people. Again, it's each one of us that is really going to make the difference. And it's so important that I guess we recognize it. And thinking about Earth Day, the one thing that always really inspires me on Earth Day, and I've always kind of felt, and I think a couple of the people on the panel will agree, that sometimes fighting for the environment is a lonely job. It's been a lonely job for years and years. But Earth Day seems to bring out an inspiration with everybody. Everybody's all of a sudden thinking the same way that me, Danielle, or Kat, or Yvonne are thinking every day, right? And so taking this opportunity to say, get out to people, say, yeah, your actions do matter, and we appreciate everything you do, I think is really important on a day like today, that we really promote those individual actions.
I know something else that is important too are community partnerships, and all of our experts here on the panel are involved one way or another throughout the community, and it's the partnerships that really make it work. Maybe Yvonne, you could start on that, and just through WEtech, some of the partnerships that you guys are involved in that when it comes to Earth Day, make the entire situation work.
Well, I think for us, we have a lot to learn. In fact, when I was originally approached about this opportunity, it was more to learn from all of the experts in the space. So, our existing partnerships right now are, through the Digital Main Street program, we're working on this eco-friendly YPG initiative. But in fact, I hope that it prompts more opportunities, especially when you think about technology. We're constantly upgrading our phones and our computers. And I think of, we've worked with Elizabeth before, but I think there's lots of opportunity to build out better partnerships. And also, Steve, to what you said earlier, is how can we continue to promote those businesses who are doing the right thing? And I know we're going to get into some ideas and show what businesses can do to be better and to promote green thinking and initiatives. So I'm not sure if anyone else has anything to add, but I know these organizations are all actively working on community partnerships.
Danielle, did you want to mention anything about community partnerships?
Sure. I think protecting our environment and restoring our environment can only be done through community partnerships. And that's how we have always based our approach to protecting the environment. And so, earlier Kat and Karina talked about what we as individuals can do, and the choices that we make add up to a big cumulative impact. But I think we have to even zoom out a little bit farther than that and note that every dollar that we spend is really a vote for the kind of life we want to live, right? So supporting businesses that are green and use sustainable products and sustainable business practices, showing our support for those businesses is a great way to go. As well, letting our elected officials know that the environmental protection and restoration is important to us. If those elected into positions of leadership don't know that their constituents feel strongly about those things, then it's not going to resonate as much. So reaching out and letting and having a voice and letting people know that environmental protection and climate action are important to all of us in the community are an important thing to do. And then as well, just being mindful in our daily choices, turning off the lights, adjusting the temperature properly, being mindful in our choices, all of the things that we can do. Take less car trips, drive a little bit less, ride our bikes a little bit more. There's lots and lots of things that we all know that we can do. It's just making the choice to do them.
Thanks again. And Elizabeth, too, I know with your organization, too, partnerships really are a key.
For sure. We came together and just to refer business to each other and to, put all the green-minded community together. Like Karina said, it's hard to promote green unless it's cool, or now that's Earth Day. So these businesses have been promoting green on their own, and putting them together as a group made us stronger. So partnership is the key, and I'm definitely excited to celebrate Earth Day with them tonight. So we encourage everybody to join us.
I was going to say maybe a couple of other things. Karina, some of the impacts that we've seen locally as a result of climate change, if you could comment on that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the city of Windsor, and if you live in the city, you're well aware of the flooding we've had in 2017, which is the largest storm. But we've had, pretty significant rainfall events almost every year. But we've also seen higher temperatures, and why we have to fight so much to try and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions is because every year we delay, we're basically facing the inevitable worsening of the impacts. So just for example, back in 2000, we had about 20 days where we exceeded 30 degrees Celsius. By the end of this century, we could be looking at something around 60, 70 days where we're exceeding 30 degrees Celsius. So we think of the community impact, right? We're going to have to pay more to cool our homes. We're going to have to look at our schools if they don't have air conditioning. What is the impact on child learning? So we're kind of in a race right now to try and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions so we can put off the worst, so we can try to not have more flooding events. Some people were impacted last year because of the rising water levels, right? That were threatening their homes, had impacts on the Windsor Marina, Pesh Island. All these things have an impact, or we already seeing these impacts from our changing climate. So I think, again, this is just a highlight of what we're going to be facing without considerable action. And that kind of goes back to why community partners and individual actions are so important, because we need everybody kind of going in the same direction on these initiatives and supporting and taking leadership at whatever level you can.
Danielle, I was wondering if you could comment on basically the same question from ERCA's point of view.
Sure, and just building on Karina's comments, flood warning is one of the responsibilities that the Conservation Authority has. And, in the earlier days of the Conservation Authority, you'd issue a flood warning or a flood watch, and it would maybe be for 24 or 48 hours. In the last 2 years, we've been under an elevated state of flood watch or warning for more than 6 continuous months because the water levels were so high. Every single community in our region has faced flooding in some way. Additionally, our changing climate has increased human health risks. We hear a lot about tick awareness, but because of our warming temperatures, you're seeing ticks and Lyme disease increasing because the winters aren't getting cold enough to disrupt those cycles. And so those are just some of the impacts locally that we're facing. And, people look at the 2050, the 2050 target for reducing the emissions as future generations. Well, we're closer to 2050 than we're to 1990. So I think putting that in context is really eye-opening for some people, that we are closer to 2050 than we are to 1990. So it is important to realize that there is a rapid change that we need to consider and implement quickly.
Thanks, Danielle. You really make me feel old now. I just wanted to, once again, Karina, from the cities and municipalities' point of view, moving forward, some of the goals that the city would have in mind.
Yeah, so the city, we basically created our greenhouse gas targets back in 2017, and they were approved by council. So we're looking at reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2041. Now I know today, and by the time we get off here, we'll probably see that there's new federal targets. So, you know, again, our targets are a point in time in 2017, and there's new science, but we have to strive towards that. And ERCA is also setting their own targets, or the county is hopefully going to be setting their own targets very shortly. But that's just kind of one of the many goals the city has in order to kind of track and measure our progress. So, you know, we report annually to our city council on these to basically see if we're on the right track or not. But again, it goes back to the individual actions. We need everybody to be, you know, going in the same direction with us, and in order for us to reach these goals.
As I mentioned right at the start, I'm very proud for the last couple of months to be the official care ambassador for Team Goran Remax Care Realty. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we may have Goran with us now. I know he's been extremely busy, as he is almost every day, but, you know, lots of times, Goran, when people think of what role businesses should play in Earth Day, they may be thinking of, you know, factories that pollute. But I know that Goran does care a great deal about, obviously, things like family, the community, Windsor-Essex, and Earth Day being a father. And Goran, I wondered if you could just comment on how you see that your business, the most successful real estate company in the entire country, when it comes to Earth Day.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. Steve, you're a lucky man. All these beautiful ladies and you're all by yourself. That's not fair. I'm glad they called me in here. Thank you for having me. Earth Day is important to all of us. As a father of 3 young children, we see more and more our eyes are open, especially when it comes to selling real estate. When it comes to selling real estate, certain properties where over time they perhaps been contaminated, because in the past, people used to change their oil at home and just dump it in the sewer or dump it in the backyard, or there's, you know, factories out there, or there is, you know, somebody who's a mechanic working out of their garage. They didn't dispose of and treat things properly the way they should be treated, right? And whether it's happening, it's polluting our earth and polluting our lives. So when it comes to real estate, Earth Day is hugely important. I mean, God doesn't make land anymore. So the land that we have, let's take care of it. Let's all do our part to be better citizens and better humans, take care of our land for the futures to come.
Elizabeth, I was wondering if you could comment as well, just on what role that you think that businesses can and perhaps should play in terms of environmental sustainability.
For sure. Thanks, Steve. So like Goran said, it's doing our part. So for business side of it, you know, you could try and do your part by using eco-friendly products. One of our members does promote eco-friendly products when you're doing trade shows. So, you know, like a business card with a seed in it. So instead of throwing it to the garbage after you actually plant it, and a flower would come out. So there's very innovative ways to promote your business. You know, obviously social media is huge, like Yvonne said, you know, promote those small businesses that are doing the right thing. So definitely I encourage everybody to, you know, do their part, and, you know, to stop putting straws, plastic straws on where your coffee is, and little things like that will help immensely when you're talking about years of your employees drinking coffee and all those plastics going to waste and things like that.
Yvonne, I know with WEtech, you guys work closely with so many different companies throughout Windsor-Essex. give you an opportunity maybe to mention a few as well that are doing the right things in terms of the environment.
I just love to add some things I think we can do. I mean, what has COVID taught us is that we can work from home. Some of us can, right? So one of the easy ways you can go green as a business is allowing your staff to telecommute, right? That is a way that is, cars off the street. Elizabeth said, going green with your office supplies, from swag that you're giving away at trade shows to, using recycled batteries, recycled paper, etc. You can green your kitchen, again, with cutlery that's reusable, not using plastic straws. Work with sustainable vendors, right? When you're working and you're hiring out services, look to see, are those organizations doing what they can, to help people profit in the planet? Offer green transportation initiatives, right? Encourage your staff to take public transportation or even put a bike rack in front of your business. Invest in renewable energy and even switching to the cloud. So for those that may not be true, into the tech world, traditionally some of our, stuff would reside in a server, and there's ways of saving energy just by putting it up into the cloud. But when you talk about businesses, Steve, I've shared a little bit of the tech businesses we work in, but I have one in particular, and I'm very biased on this one. My wonderful sister is my environmental advocate. She has been literally helping the planet since she was born. In fact, she is a new entrepreneur starting a vermicomposting business. So I am slowly understanding what worms can do to help the environment. So I'd love to shout out her new business, the Modern Worm Company. Again, I will be getting my house warming kit in the near future, and really interesting to learn about all the food we put into the landfill. People just think it just gets composted. In order to compost, you need air. And a lot of the times, all that food is not getting the air and the oxygen that it needs. So one simple way, and we know it's coming down the pipeline, composting is important. So, and just a few other shout outs is to Bike Friendly Windsor-Essex, doing a lot of great work on getting people to really leverage, using bikes and advocating for bike lanes. Urban Farms is another great company that we've worked with over the past, doing some great things with, again, composting, recycling. And again, there's just so many more people to thank, but I'll just leave it there with those 3 shout outs.
I was going to ask Goran too. I mean, Goran, you are so well connected in the business community, obviously through your real estate company, but just socially, I don't think there's anyone that's involved in business Windsor-Essex that doesn't know Goran Todorovic. Goran, are you starting to see a little bit of a difference over the past few years as well with Earth Day, that just in some of the other businesses that they're treating the planet a little bit differently, and obviously all for the better?
I was till to be honest, last year and a half, then I'm seeing all these darn masks everywhere, and everybody's, people a little bit more COVID contagious, if you will. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. So I don't like the fact that I'm seeing people are disposing of masks just anywhere. And now that people are getting their shots, I got mine today, just on the way here. But the visors, they're just tossing the visors, right? So, but overall, as a child, looking in the ditches, looking around, yes, we're living in a much cleaner workplace, and also a cleaner parks. Our parks are cleaner, and that has lots to do with everybody on this screen, except for me. But each and every one of you guys are doing a great job and doing your part. But everything's cleaner. We're finding neighborhoods are being cleaner, less pollutants, less junk. There was a time when I used to work at the Penny Saver newspaper when I was 16 years of age. I was in charge of distribution in the east side of Windsor. And some of those kids, well, they didn't deliver the paper. They ditch it in the ditch. So we find it and dig it up. And so that wasn't that good for the environment. But overall, we are seeing people being very conscious of the environment. And again, we can all do our part. And like my friend Elizabeth said, small things just like this. I never even thought about the straws, but thank you, Elizabeth. And when we go to resorts now, we see a lot more resorts, paper straws, and yes, it's a bit of an inconvenience, but who cares? Use 3 or 4 of them by the time you finish your drink, or just drink smaller drinks.
One of the things too that drives me crazy, and it's those little things, because, well, I walked this morning and it wasn't even Wednesday. I do my walking daily, obviously. few years ago, I used to run a whole lot more, but a couple of torn meniscus put at the end of that. And same with biking. We're so blessed here in Windsor-Essex with fabulous trails throughout the city and into the county as well. And by all means, if we could just get everybody to just do their part, if you have, whether it's a wrapper, whether it was a water bottle, to dispose of all those things properly, it all adds up and really would make a difference. And it drives me crazy when I see that somebody is littered. And I mean, you're going to find somewhere to dispose of it properly, likely 100 meters up the trail. The GooseChase app, and I know that so many people have really been talking about this, and a lot of families, what did they hear, 500 or so have been having fun with the competition. Maybe we'll start with Kat, and you could just comment on the GooseChase app and how it's all worked out.
Before Kat goes, I have to go. I got another offer. I got to run for somebody, and I appreciate your time. And my phone's ringing. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Busiest man in the city.
Well, Steve, when we sat down, the Earth Day committee, we sat down and it was a challenge to figure out how we could have an event without actually having a physical event. What could we do? And we had a lot of Zoom meetings and talking back and forth. And Karina said, you know, I heard about this app called GooseChase, and it's a scavenger hunt. Maybe we should look into it. So that started the ball rolling, and the Earth Day committee, you know, looked into it. We ran a test game, and we thought, hey, this could be interesting. We could, you know, we could invite our partners. We could, all the people that normally come to the Earth Day event, we can say, hey, do you want to submit a mission? Do you want to do this? And as the ball started to keep rolling and gaining momentum, we realized that we had something that we thought kids and families would enjoy. It you know, gets to your competitive spirit. We have families that are competing. One of my colleagues has gone through the scouting and cub community, and they've all registered their family names, and they're all competing against each other. And so we love to see things like this. We love to see the kids come up with great pictures and ideas, and the kids are coming back going, I didn't know about that. They watch a video from ERCA, they watch a video from the authority, or even the video from the Lou Romano water treatment plant, which tells them how the water system works. And people can learn across the board. I've learned new things, and I've been in this environmental you know, mandate for about 28 years now. So I'm learning new things. So I really think it speaks to the community coming together, our environmental partners coming together to really push this environmental sustainability protection forward, and letting everybody know that you can do anything. It's just small actions, baby steps at a time.
And I know with the GooseChase app, some people are pretty competitive, are they not, Yvonne? I understand there's been a pretty good battle.
No, you didn't. I don't know what you heard, Steve. No. Well, my sister and I have been challenging each other. So I've got a lot of catching up. I'm now in 60th place, but again, after learning there's over 500 people playing, I don't feel so bad. But it's been so fun. And again, it's not just kids, right? Where, you know, my sister and I are, I won't say our ages, but we're not kids anymore. And it's been, you know, it's been fun. And to what I just heard, you know, I'm learning new things, right? And it's also an app that's, again, it's fun, it's safe to do. You can do it with the entire family. Lots of new challenges. And again, you're always learning about whether it's transportation, the trails, how to capture and know what your carbon footprint is. So lots of really cool initiatives. So I'm not sure if I'll make it to first place, but hopefully I'll make it out of maybe in the top 50.
And Danielle, I know that you mentioned earlier as well that with your children, it's going to be a busy weekend too, but there's still a few things left to be accomplished with your kids.
Absolutely. And our hope for the app is that people will take the lessons that they've learned from these missions and apply them to their everyday life, so that the learning that they're gaining through this virtual Earth Day event will carry on, and they'll, you know, go on to reduce their energy consumption year round, go on to not litter year round, go on to properly recycle year round, and hopefully not buy bottled water anymore either. That's one of the most important things to me.
Absolutely. And Windsor and the entire area, I always think has the best. I'm a tap water guy, and I think we have marvelous tap water here, and just take advantage of it. We're almost out of time, but I do want to thank and remind everybody too that the GooseChase Scavenger hunt, we're not done. We still have a few days to go here. So even if you're like Yvonne sitting in 59th, 60th place, there's still an opportunity to move up a little bit. You know, we've got till the tail end of the weekend. So we want to make sure that everybody does and get those Earth Day videos sent in as well. I'd like to thank our panel. Everybody here has been marvelous. And so once again, Earth Day, and it really started to hit home, I think, with me once I had grandkids too, and they would be there, the constant reminder of doing all those little things. You would think, well, it does matter. It all adds up. The Earth Day hour has been a lot of fun, but this is something that has to continue, not just till the end of the scavenger hunt, not just till the end of the weekend, but throughout our lives on an ongoing basis. We only have one planet. I know Elon Musk and some guys are looking at Mars, but I don't think in my lifetime. Let's make sure that Earth, this is the only planet that I likely will be on, and we make the very most of it, not only for our lives, but for our future as well. And I know too that we have a little video to share. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us for this year's 2021. Hopefully next year we can do this all in person.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Brown. I work for Contents Processing Center. We highlight Earth Day every year. We process contents that have been affected by insurance claims, such as water and fire. We use green technology and environmentally friendly processes, keeping items out of landfills and limiting the carbon footprint as a result of a claim. Our green networking group meets every month, #YQGreen, or visit our website at www.cpcwindsor.com. Thanks for celebrating Earth Day with us.
My name is Paul Giroux, and I'm the City Forester here at the City of Windsor. We are here today at Micmac Park, a beautiful park home to many majestic native oak trees. And here we're going to talk about tree planting. First thing you want to really do is assess the site. Look at where you want to plant the tree. Is it an open site? Is it in close proximity to buildings? will there be enough room for this tree to grow and be the tree that it can be? I like the spot here because this is a tulip tree that we're planting, and tulip trees need full sun. So this is kind of a gap, an opening between the oak trees. So we're gonna have pretty good sun here. So we think this is a good place for this tulip tree to grow. We have a beautiful sandy loam here. It's sandy, but at the same time, it's still clumps. We can still make a fist with the soil, which tells us that we have nice organic matter in the soil to help retain the moisture. So we're gonna start planting this tree. This is the fun part. You really should be digging a hole that's double the size. So a 12-inch pot would go in a hole that's 24 inches across. Sometimes trees growing in a pot have a tendency to curl and grow in a circle. We want to break up those circling roots by just taking our fingers and kind of pushing them out straight. So you want to make sure that it's kind of nice and uniform and square at the bottom so that the tree sits nicely. Okay, now that we have the hole, we're going to measure for depth. Look at that, we're a little bit too deep. And the reason why I say it's too deep is that every tree has a root flare. It's really important that the root flare remain above grade. If you look at all these mature oak trees, you can see where the trunk hits the lawn, it has that root flare. Sometimes you can take your shovel and you can take a look at that root flare right here, and right now we're a little bit too deep. I would rather see that tree perched up maybe even an inch above grade, knowing that over time the tree will settle. This is very important. It's nice to get it right the first time. Bring the tree back down. Straight, make sure it's straight. Look at it, take your shovel, do a little test. You can see that the root flare looks to be about right. So we start taking our soil that we took out of the hole, and we can start putting it down. Now, it's not necessary, but it's often a good idea when you're planting to the tree to amend the soil with a three-way mix or compost. One final tamp. And most importantly, you want a nice, good quality mulch. They usually come in bags. 4 to 6 inches of mulch is critical. It helps retain the soil in the moisture. It keeps the weeds and the grasses from competing with the tree. And the mulch keeps the machines away from striking the bark. It's very important that you protect the tree after planting. Repeatedly striking the bark with your machine or your weed whipper can injure the bark, disease can set in, and the tree can slowly die. So putting this on gives that tree that extra protection. And I would say leave it on for about 3 years, and then the bark will be thick enough that it could withstand any mishaps. And the tree in the beginning is going to be very thirsty, and it's going to need a lot of water. So watering 2 to 3 times a week for the first month or so is great. So there you have it, a little bit of a tree planting demonstration for you today on how to plant potted trees. We hope you found it helpful. Here at the City of Windsor, we love to plant trees. We love to protect the urban forest that we have. We love to enhance our canopy cover. If you think there might be a tree planting opportunity in front of your house on city right of way, please call 311. We'd be happy to meet with you, take a look at your request, and see if it's a good fit for tree planting. Have a great day.